I awoke in my tent from a night of light sleep to the chilled air pressed upon my face. Still dark, I searched for some fresh clothes in those strewn about my tent, got dressed quickly, and stumbled into the early morning. The silhouettes of other tents, juniper, pinon, and sagebrush, bespeckle the pre-dawn mesa before me. Chunks of ivory quartz underfoot, and the luminous slash of stars above, I make my way to the center of camp, hungry for the heat and light of the fire. The stars in the east begin to fade as the first threads of dawn appear above the distant mesa. The light is soft and cool, much like the morning. Gradually people begin to stir from their tents and slowly make their way to the crest of a nearby bluff. I follow. We stand silently facing the east, awaiting the first glimpse of the sun. Some dip their fingers into buckskin pouches and send whispered prayers and pinches of cornmeal to the four directions. Some, like myself, just watch, transfixed on the horizon and spellbound by the simple sacredness of the moment. Suddenly there's a tap on my shoulder. I turn to meet the glimmering, deeply set eyes of the camp matriarch. She leans in close and whispers in my ear, "We're going to put you to work, Lucas." I nod approvingly, though not at all sure of what she meant. "We're going to make you a warrior," she says. What comes to mind when you hear the word warrior? Maybe a bit of what came to my mind. But this is not the kind of warrior we typically think of in Western culture, not the macho, gun-toting Rambo warrior. This was something much more purposeful. It was not about the reckless slaughter of others, but service to others. Warriors here did not participate in the ceremony as others did. They camped away from the main camp so they could keep watch, as their primary function was to be intermediaries between the animal world and the human world. They had to be ever vigilantly attuned to their surroundings, to the happenings of the land. They watched and listened, so others did not have to. They were silent protectors and humble servants of the people, eating and drinking only what was given to them. They stood outside the circle of ceremony so others could enjoy it freely. That day our group of 40 or so made pilgrimage into a nearby canyon to visit the petroglyphs, or scriptures as the Canecito called them, haunting pictures inscribed upon the towering canyon walls long ago by their ancestors. I stood before the stone wall and traced my fingers across cryptic stories told of a time long past, made by hands, eyes, and minds that have experienced a world I imagined to be so very different from my own, a time long before geopolitics, ecocide, terrorism, and mass shootings, a time before the throes of an earth woefully out of balance and so much suffering wrought by her many broken children. Fulfilling my warrior duties, I scouted ahead on paths, clearing the way for others to follow. With the bandwidth of my attention and listening spread out across the land, weaving through dried grasses and stones, bouncing off smooth canyon walls and moistened riverbeds, my senses became enlivened in a way I've rarely, if ever, experienced. As our journey continued on, always I had a hand extended, ready to assist the elderly and children along the rocky trails. And then, in a moment of quiet reflection, I realized that something of that ancient world, the world engraved upon those stone walls, had begun to take root in my being. But it wasn't foreign or unfamiliar as one might expect. In fact, it felt unmistakably like home. There was an inherent correctness in this connection to land, in the service and care of others, and in the sacredness in which both were being treated. For most of my life, I've been something of a warrior in my own right, a warrior for a brighter future. I've sought for the more just, beautiful, and life-affirming world that lives in my heart. I've offered my life in the service to the creation of that world, yet up until this point that world existed primarily somewhere in the future, as a vision to be pursued. My entire thesis was 70 pages all about the creation of a new world, and yet here I was, standing in it, in this canyon, with this ceremony and with these people, and it wasn't new at all, yet neither was it old. It was fundamental. it was original. And I realized that to truly reach forward, we have to reach back as well. Like a tree, fully developed and strong roots have to be in place before meaningful growth can occur. Yet we've been reaching forward with nothing to hold on to keep our balance, and so we stumble. We've grown so tall without our roots in the earth that we will soon topple over, taking much of the earth along with us. Our salvation as a species, then, lies not just in the creation of the new, it lies too in the remembering of wisdom and ways of being that Westerners have all but forgotten, if not nearly eradicated. Ways of being that the Canecito and countless other indigenous peoples have sustained and safeguarded against all odds. Community, ceremony, connection to a living earth, service to one another. These are unintegrated yet essential aspects of who we are as humans at our core, and we desperately need to reconnect with them. When my time with the Canecito had completed, I left with a much deeper understanding of what it is to be a warrior. I will continue to fight for the creation of a more beautiful world, but not just as something that is perpetually on its way, but something too which is present with every extended hand in service, every silent moment spent connecting to the more than human world, and every time we interact with life with the respect and reverence that it so deserves.